Want to welcome in the first wave of panelists today. We have right over there Jimmy Himes. Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
VFL Will Overstreet. VFL Kevin Simon, who is ripping. I like we're promoting the Saturday kickoff show.
I do what I can.
Yeah, he's the co-host on our Saturday show. Kevin Simon, thanks for joining us today. Marlon Walls, VFL down there. Thank you, buddy. All right. I'm just going to be quick here. It's better to win ugly than lose pretty.
It is.
But that was very, very ugly. At least in terms of offense. Will, I'm going to get your take. Top takeaway from last night's victory, 23-17 in overtime over Florida.
You know, I was hoping there'd be something that would come out of this game that would say, okay, when we're back at home, our offense looks like this. Unfortunately, our offense looked like Arkansas, and it looked like the other games that I've been seeing. And so now I'm starting to have a lot more doubts about this team, what it's capable of, where it can go. You just look at it, the offensive line, the offensive tackles. I think they had 2 holding calls and 3 sacks. Maybe one of those didn't come from them in the first quarter, right? Like abysmally bad performance on the offensive line in a lot of places. And then, you know, if I look back at it and I really go to Nico, he's had 5 fumbles, not all of them given up, in the 3 SEC games. He's had had 2 or 3 interceptions. He's had 1 interception, excuse me. But he's fumbled the ball. He's not taking care of the ball very well either. So you've just got a lot of things that are stopping and starting and stalling when you get some kind of momentum and you're just not clicking and it's just not looking very good. And it's looking more like a Jeremy Pruitt offense than it is a Josh Heupel offense where, you know, when Pruitt was here, you were like, can we score 20 in an SEC game?
Yeah.
You're asking yourself that right now. Can I score 20 against an SEC defense?
Who wants it next?
You can, and it's hard getting there. But that game last night kind of reminded me of the way Florida usually wins that kind of game.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I got to give Tennessee some credit for being resilient. But, I mean, to many respects, Florida outplayed Tennessee. They outgained them. They outpassed them. They had 4 penetrations in the red zone in the first half and got a field goal out of it. So a lot of credit goes to Tennessee's defense for being able to help win that football game. The offense is stuck in neutral. They're out in the ocean, and I saw last night somebody was in the ocean and a dead-gum ice cooler saved him. That's about where Tennessee is right now.
Looking for the ice cooler.
Yeah, they're looking for that ice cooler. But that was the kind of game that Florida usually wins against Tennessee. And Tennessee had dropped 17 of 19 before that game. So some credit there, but gosh, when you watch them, you're like, you can't keep doing this or you're going to pay. You're going to lose some more games if you keep playing like this.
Agreed. Top takeaways, gentlemen.
Top takeaway, first of all, like everybody else is saying, good job by that team finding a way to win. Again, we've all seen years and years of this kind of offense versus that kind of team. They find a way to win. So good job by them by winning that football game. But I found myself watching the game and just constantly waiting. All right, when do we explode? When do we explode offensively? Defense brought it on in the second half, so that was good to see because we were stalling a little bit there too. But I just found myself waiting last night, and I think I didn't see it until the last drive when Samson was able to push it in to get the touchdown there in the overtime. So it was a rough watch. It was a rough watch, but at the same time, I've got to, as a former player, say, congratulations beating Florida because we've always found ways to lose those football games.
Kevin.
Yeah, and the top takeaway for me is just watching the offense. I like some of the wrinkles that they try to put in, moving the pocket, sprint out, a few more quarterback-friendly throws within it. You know, they had the combination where to the 2 receiver side, they got a go ball, and then Squirrel would run out and then turn around and just kind of just QB-friendly throw, try to get Nico in a rhythm. You know, even try to throw a jailbreak screen to Ethan Davis. So they're trying some new things. They're dabbling. What's the next step? There needs to be more that comes in new. And then the other thing is, like, bend but don't break defense. Yep. You know, we were all probably pulling our hair out. I know Will was. You know, watching, he's like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
But we played more zone against Arkansas than I'd seen us play all season. We played more zone in that first half. But when it really counted and the lights were shining the brightest, we had to get off the field. We played man. We brought the blitz. So Tim Banks, he'll dial it up when he needs to. And I think for him, he likes to mix it up. put a little bit of snow on top of all our heads.
I thought the defense, that's where I was going to go. I thought they deserve a lot of credit last night. They won the game for you. I mean, that's also the first time since 1969 that a Tennessee team has held its first 6 opponents under 20 points. 1969 was a whole other game than what you play today out there.
Yeah.
Points are a different beast. To do something like that, and we could talk about, well, they played Oklahoma in the SEC. NC State isn't that good. Okay, fine. That's 4 SEC teams you've played so far. I'm not going to count Kent State and Chattanooga. 3 SEC teams. I'm not going to count Kent State and Chattanooga. But that's 4 Power 5 teams that you've played. And to hold them all under 20 in this day and age, that's a pretty good deal. And also, I've probably watched too much Belichick over the years, but his take was always, do yards show up on the scoreboard? I don't think they do. Just talk to me about points. And last night, they kept giving up red zone trips and kept coming through at the end.
Yeah.
In terms of Nico, we will get into, can he be fixed? How do you fix him? That's a little later. We're going to get into the offensive line play. We're going to get into the play calling. But I want to talk about Dylan Samson, because right now he is, well, one, he's your best player.
Yep.
Although Pierce is coming on and Jermod McCoy. I think Lance Hurd, John Campbell, and Nico Iamaleava need to gather some of their NIL money and hand it to Jermod McCoy. Last night that was an elite performance. Some of the pass breakups he had. But when you look at Samson, he's playing at a level where he's carrying the team right now. It's the defense and it's Samson on offense.
Yep.
He is. He's got 15 touchdowns this year. The school record is 18.
Yeah.
He's
Gene
gonna
McEver in 1929.
Right.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I didn't even cover him. But I'm going to tell you, the way Samson's playing right now, there's no question he's going to break the record, right?
Yeah.
But he is an elite running back. It almost surprised me that he wasn't in when Tennessee got the ball in the plus 20 after an interception.
Yes.
But he is a tremendous running back. He's become a complete running back for Tennessee. Remember, when he signed with Tennessee, he was 180 pounds, and he was a sprinter. Now he's put on about 20 or so pounds. He runs with more power. I've been very impressed with him. He's one of the best offensive players in the SEC right now.
I would tell you, I thought about this last night, and I thought about it all season, really. Him posting that picture a year ago with the cheetah behind the deal saying, let me out.
Yeah.
I'm sure glad that guy decided to stay, because at that moment in time, it looked like a distraction. But what I see now is this guy saw that he had capability in his offense. He was comfortable in his offense and just was asking for an opportunity on the field. Now, he had some guys in front of him, but my take last night was this guy's good, and I'm glad he stayed. And we figured something out to keep that guy on the field and on this team.
I wish he had a few more holes in front of him. I said in the offseason, and I didn't know he was going to bulk up and put on the weight that he has. I didn't see him being the Jalen Wright type who could run into a hole, get hit, and carry 5 guys down the field. He's having to do that now. Now, it's not to the level that Wright did it last year, but he's getting a lot of these yards on his own, I think. So I just look at Dylan Samson and think, if anything happens to him, you got serious problems over there. Should they be leaning on him even more? What's interesting is there was a lot of thought that this year was going to be a 3-man rotation, Selden and Bishop. Selden came into the year hurt. Selden's not part of the rotation. It's basically Samson, Bishop for a couple, Samson. Do you use Samson even more in the passing game? Do you get him more involved? Or have you already maxed out his workload?
I feel like you've maxed out his workload. I mean, he's carrying enough of the burden right now. The passing game's going to have to go on someone else's shoulders. And a guy who finally got an opportunity, other than the games against UT Chattanooga and Kent State, but Chris Brazzell, listen, somehow, someway, you got to put this guy on the field. His catch radius, his size, his movement, athletic ability, he's very reminiscent to me of Seth Tillman. He's a guy who's capable of making plays in the deep area of the field. We saw the one that he went up and got, unfortunately was just out of bounds. But listen, probably 9 out of 10 times, in that same scenario, he's going to come up with a big play. So, that guy's been sitting over on the, sipping on Gatorade. Got to get that guy on the field.
Very good. All right. When we come back, best player on the field last night. Worst decision. Could it be a worse decision that worked out? We'll discuss that a little later, too. But we may bring that up next. And then also biggest disappointment from last night. Come on back on the Sports Source.